Hello, dear friends. I'm Alder Santos, and welcome to our channel, Baseball Legends. In an era dominated by scandals, sky-high salaries, and sluggers who seemingly came out of nowhere with superhuman strength, one name stood out for his quiet consistency and unwavering integrity: Fred McGriff, the legendary crime dog. While others made headlines for controversial reasons, McGriff established himself as one of the most reliable hitters in Major League Baseball, game after game, season after season. Yet, despite his impressive 493 home runs and a career defined by excellence, he was left out of the Hall of Fame for a long time. Why? The answer lies in a curious mix of context, discretion, and an era full of excess. McGriff wasn't flashy. He didn't seek the spotlight. His approach was that of a true professional. Show up, do the job with excellence, and let the numbers speak for themselves. He didn't need steroids to be dominant. He didn't need scandals to be remembered. But paradoxically, it may have been that very lack of controversy that caused many to underestimate him. Until, years after his retirement, the long overdue recognition finally arrived. Watch this video until the end and tell us, do you think Fred McGriff was unfairly left out of the Hall of Fame for too long? Share your opinion in the comments. We want to know what you think about the legacy of the one and only crime dog. In this video, you'll discover the fascinating journey of Fred McGriff. From his humble beginnings in Tampa, Florida, through his glory years with the Blue Jays, Padres, and Braves, to his Hall of Fame induction in 2023. We'll explore not just the numbers that made him one of the greatest sluggers of his generation, but also the values that turned him into a rare symbol of integrity during one of baseball's most turbulent eras. Get ready to rediscover a hero who was quietly great for far too long. Fred McGriff was born on October 31st, 1963, in Tampa, Florida, in a working-class neighborhood. His childhood was marked by simplicity and strong values, influenced by a close-knit family and a community that saw sports as a path to discipline and opportunity. From an early age, McGriff showed interest in baseball, but he wasn't initially considered a top prospect. In fact, during his high school years, he was practically ignored by scouts and analysts. His talent wasn't immediately obvious to everyone, but his strong work ethic and constant drive to improve made all the difference. Despite not being a standout in youth leagues or high school, McGriff remained determined to pursue his dream of playing professionally. After graduating from Jefferson High School, he was selected in the 9th round of the 1981 draft by the New York Yankees, a modest pick for a hitter who would later become one of the most consistent in history. During this period, he had to prove himself every single day, competing for space and recognition among players who had more hype and media attention. His dedication during training sessions caught the attention of coaches, and his hitting power began to stand out clearly. Interestingly, before ever reaching the major leagues, McGriff was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays in a deal that would later be widely criticized. The Yankees, unaware of the potential they had in their hands, gave up one of the most productive hitters of the next 2 decades. With the Blue Jays, McGriff was able to continue his development in the minor leagues, where he finally began to showcase his incredible offensive power. His smooth, controlled swing, combined with natural strength and great plate discipline, made him a growing threat to opposing pitchers. The turning point came when McGriff made his Major League Baseball debut in 1986. Still splitting playing time as a young developing player, he quickly showed that he could compete at the highest level. In 1987, he started to get more opportunities, and by 1988, he had his first full season as a starter. From that moment on, McGriff never looked back. He hit 34 home runs that year and established himself as one of the most feared power hitters in the American League, even without receiving the same level of media attention as other high-profile players. His rise was defined not only by offensive production, but also by his quiet and professional demeanor. McGriff wasn't flashy or self-absorbed. On the contrary, his style was silently efficient. He let his bat speak louder than any trash talk or controversy. In a sport where stars often shine brightest off the field, McGriff built his reputation behind the scenes, through consistency and the respect he earned from teammates and opponents alike. Even without immediate superstardom, he gradually became a central figure wherever he played. Fred McGriff represents the classic sports underdog story. From an overlooked prospect to one of the most consistent hitters in MLB, his journey is a testament to the power of persistence, preparation, and self-belief. While many players lost their way due to a lack of discipline or the temptations of early fame, McGriff stayed focused on his goal and reaped the rewards with a brilliant career, and eventually, his well-deserved entry into the Hall of Fame. His humble beginnings and climb to the top continue to inspire young athletes striving to prove themselves, even when the world hasn't recognized them yet. Fred McGriff made his Major League Baseball debut in 1986 with the Toronto Blue Jays, a team beginning to assert itself as a contender in the American League. Even in a limited role that first year, McGriff showed early signs of his potential at the plate. His swing was clean, controlled, and powerful, traits that caught the attention of coaches and keen-eyed analysts. In a setting filled with young talent, McGriff began to stand out for his offensive maturity and his ability to work counts, something unusual for players with so little big league experience. It was in 1987, and especially in 1988, that McGriff had the chance to display his full offensive arsenal. In his first full season as a starter, he broke out with more than 20 home runs, proving he wasn't just a promising talent, but a true threat in the Blue Jays' batting order. He finished the season with 34 home runs, cementing himself as one of the most dangerous power hitters in the American League. His impact was so strong that he quickly became a key piece in the team's lineup, alongside names like George Bell and Lloyd Moseby. His offensive production consistently put Toronto in position to compete for division titles. What made McGriff even more special was his combination of patience at the plate with raw power. He wasn't the typical slugger who relied solely on brute strength. His discipline and control allowed him to draw walks and avoid unnecessary strikeouts, which significantly increased his offensive value. In a period where the emphasis on home runs was growing, McGriff represented the type of complete hitter, capable of impacting the game in multiple ways. His presence at the plate not only produced impressive numbers, but also placed constant pressure on opposing pitchers, changing the way games were approached. Fred McGriff's immediate impact in his first seasons did not go unnoticed. He quickly earned the respect of his teammates, the sports media, and, most importantly, the league's pitchers. His name began to appear in conversations about the best hitters in Major League Baseball, even without the same media fanfare surrounding other big names. His journey already showed a clear pattern. Underestimated at first, McGriff always responded with performance. With such a strong debut and consistent impact, he was well on his way to a long and historically significant career, one that would eventually earn him a spot in the Hall of Fame. The 1989 season was a turning point in McGriff's career. Already considered a consistent hitter in previous seasons, it was that year he took the definitive step towards stardom by leading the American League with 36 home runs. Still playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, McGriff cemented his status as one of the most feared sluggers in MLB, with a smooth and powerful swing that punished opposing pitchers. His home runs weren't just frequent, they were decisive. Many of them changed the outcome of key games for the Canadian team. which at the time was fiercely competing for the division lead. In 1990, Fred McGriff was involved in one of the most significant trades of the era, being sent from the Toronto Blue Jays to the San Diego Padres in a package that also included shortstop Tony Fernandez, in exchange for Joe Carter and Roberto Alomar. This trade would go down in history, not only because of the stars involved, but also for how it altered the fate of both franchises. For McGriff, the move to San Diego represented a new challenge, leaving the American League, where he had already established himself as one of the top sluggers, and proving his worth in the National League, in front of a new fan base and with a slightly different style of play. Despite the new environment and high expectations, McGriff handled the transition with the same calm and focus that would define his entire career. During his time with the Padres, McGriff maintained his high offensive production. He showed that his power at the plate was consistent regardless of the ballpark or league he played in. In his 3 full seasons in San Diego, 1991 to 1993, he continued to average over 30 home runs per year and drive in dozens of runs, solidifying his image as one of the most reliable hitters in MLB. His approach at the plate was patient, strategic, and explosive when he got the right pitch. Even without the same offensive support he had in Toronto, McGriff remained efficient and productive, standing out as one of the few stars on a team still searching for identity and stability. Beyond the stats, McGriff became a respected figure in the Padres clubhouse, admired for his work ethic and professional demeanor. He was the kind of player who led by example, constantly present in the lineup and rarely fazed by adversity. Although the San Diego team didn't achieve great collective success during his time there, McGriff proved he was a talent capable of shining even in less favorable situations. His consistency during this period was a reflection of his ability to quickly adapt and maintain a high level of performance year after year. One of the defining traits that would eventually earn him a place among the greats in baseball history. Leading the league in home runs was even more impressive because McGriff did it without the aid of a hitter-friendly park. The Skydome, now Rogers Center, where the Blue Jays played, was considered a relatively neutral field for sluggers, which made his offensive achievements even more impressive. Additionally, his patient approach at the plate, marked by excellent pitch selection and a high number of walks, helped keep his OPS high, highlighting him not just as a power hitter, but as one of the most complete offensive players in the league. With his 36 home runs, McGriff also joined a select group of players who had led one of the major leagues in such a coveted category. This brought greater national recognition to his name and fueled discussions about his place among the best at his position. Despite his quiet demeanor off the field and lack of a flashy media persona, he began to draw more attention from the sports press and fans, who saw him as the old-school type of athlete, hardworking, technical, and lethal. His success in 1989 confirmed that McGriff wasn't just a promising prospect or a rising star. He was already a proven force in baseball's elite. Leading the league in home runs not only crowned his individual performance, it also cemented his strategic importance to the Blue Jays. McGriff was the anchor in the middle of the lineup, the hitter who commanded respect and altered the way defenses and pitchers planned their games. His power forced opponents to constantly rethink their tactics, creating opportunities for his teammates to benefit as well. The impact of 1989 was lasting. In addition to cementing his reputation, that accomplishment became one of the foundational elements of the legacy that, years later, would help usher him into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Fred McGriff's arrival in Atlanta in 1993 marked a turning point both for his career and the immediate future of the Braves franchise. Coming from the San Diego Padres, McGriff joined a roster already filled with talent, especially on the mound, with names like Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz leading the rotation. What the team lacked, however, was an elite hitter to balance the offense, and McGriff filled that need immediately. His presence in the heart of the lineup brought stability, power, and respect, essential traits for a team constantly contending for division titles and aiming for the World Series. He made an immediate impact, helping the Braves overtake the Giants in the 1993 division race, one of the most memorable chases of the pre-wild card era. In the following years, McGriff maintained his consistency as one of the team's top hitters, playing a key role during the Braves' 1990s dynasty. His ability to deliver in clutch moments set him apart in the playoffs, where he frequently led the team with crucial hits. In 1995, that combination of talent, experience, and calm under pressure culminated in winning the World Series title, the franchise's first since moving to Atlanta. During the postseason, McGriff had standout performances, including home runs and hits that shifted the course of important games. His presence was vital not just for the numbers he put up, but for the quiet leadership he provided, instilling confidence in the group and helping keep the team focused during the most intense moments. The 1995 title cemented McGriff as a hero in Atlanta and reinforced his reputation as one of the most respected and underrated players of the era. Amid flashy stars and high-profile personalities, he stood out for his consistency, work ethic, and ability to produce without seeking the spotlight. While he often didn't receive the same media attention as other players, Braves fans and baseball insiders always recognized his importance. McGriff's impact on that championship run was lasting, helping define a winning generation in Atlanta and earning him a place of honor in the franchise's history. One of the most memorable aspects of Fred McGriff's career was the iconic nickname that followed him throughout much of his journey: Crime Dog. The nickname came from a clever pun on his last name, McGriff, which sounded like McGriff, the cartoon crime-fighting dog used in public service campaigns in the U.S. The connection was made by legendary ESPN broadcaster Chris Berman, known for his creative and humorous nicknames. From there, Crime Dog caught on among fans, the media, and even his teammates. It was a fun, easy-to-remember nickname that captured the determined and dependable spirit McGriff brought to the field. The nickname wasn't just a charming curiosity. It became a representation of McGriff's public persona. Just as McGriff was out to take a bite out of crime, Fred McGriff seemed, symbolically, to take a bite out of pitchers' hopes with his powerful swings. In an era filled with vibrant personalities and aggressive marketing, the Crime Dog moniker helped McGriff stand out in a highly competitive landscape. Though he wasn't flashy off the field, the nickname gave him a sort of alter ego, a memorable image that stuck with fans and became a lasting part of baseball culture. Even after his retirement, the nickname Crime Dog remained associated with McGriff, showing up in tributes, celebratory events, and even in discussions surrounding his Hall of Fame candidacy. It's rare for a nickname to become nearly as iconic as an athlete's accomplishments, but in Fred McGriff's case, Crime Dog became almost synonymous with consistency, reliability, and respect in the sport. It's a reminder that while he may not have had the media magnetism of some of his contemporaries, McGriff left a lasting impression not only with his bat, but with a unique identity that combined humor and strength, just like the nickname implied. Fred McGriff was the embodiment of offensive consistency throughout his major league career. From his early years to the final stretch, he maintained an impressive level of production year after year. He had 10 seasons with 30 or more home runs, placing him among the most consistent power hitters of the modern era. His smooth yet powerful swing allowed him to adjust well to changes in teams, ballparks, and even different eras of baseball. While other players experienced wild peaks and valleys, McGriff was a constant presence, An offensive threat pitchers knew they couldn't afford to underestimate in any situation. Throughout his career, McGriff totaled 493 home runs, just 7 shy of the coveted 500 mark, a symbolic milestone in baseball often seen as a ticket to the Hall of Fame. Still, coming that close to the benchmark served as a reminder of his durability and offensive output over nearly 2 decades in the majors. And it wasn't just about home runs. McGriff also consistently posted strong numbers in other key offensive categories like RBIs, slugging percentage, and on-base presence. He was the kind of player you could count on to deliver, no matter the uniform he wore or the stage of the season. That consistency, while not always as flashy as more media-driven or spectacular players, was what truly defined Fred McGriff's legacy. In a sport so rooted in numbers, he built his career brick by brick, reaching milestones that few others have matched. His steady production made him a valuable asset in any lineup, and his reliability through the years is perhaps one of his greatest attributes. In the end, McGriff proved that greatness in baseball isn't just about peak moments. It's also about the ability to perform at a high level consistently for many, many years. During an era when baseball was deeply affected by scandals involving performance-enhancing drugs, Fred McGriff stood out for his integrity and ethical approach. While many of his contemporaries saw their reputations tarnished by allegations and revelations of doping, McGriff remained untouched by such controversy. There were never any hints, investigations, or accusations tying his name to steroids or other performance-enhancing substances. This absence of scandal became one of the cornerstones of his public image, that of an athlete who earned his numbers and victories cleanly, relying solely on talent, hard work, and dedication to the game. This distinction grew even more relevant over time, especially as debates about the legacy of the steroid era intensified. While inflated statistics began to be viewed with skepticism, McGriff's numbers took on renewed value. They were trustworthy, legitimate, and the result of a career built on ethics and consistency. His name began to be remembered with respect, not just for what he accomplished on the field, but for how he did it. For many fans and analysts, McGriff became a symbol of a rarer kind of player, one who maintained his credibility in the midst of a turbulent era in the sport. This aspect of his career also positively influenced his consideration for the Hall of Fame, especially when compared to other major stars of his generation who remained outside baseball's highest honor due to doping-related controversies. Fred McGriff's spotless reputation strengthened the arguments in favor of his induction, proving that integrity still carries significant weight in recognizing greatness in the sport. In a landscape where truth was often murky, McGriff stood as an exception, a clean, consistent, and admirable story. His legacy is not only that of a talented slugger, but also of a role model of conduct and professionalism both on and off the field. Despite a career marked by offensive consistency, respect in the locker room, and a lack of controversies, Fred McGriff faced a long wait to receive baseball's highest honor, induction into the Hall of Fame. During the years his name appeared on the ballot for the Baseball Writers Association of America, BBWA, McGriff never reached the 75% threshold needed for election. Many argued that while his numbers were excellent, including 493 home runs, over 1,500 RBIs, and 5 All-Star selections, he was overshadowed by players with flashier statistics, even though those stats were often clouded by performance-enhancing drug controversies. Ironically, what hurt him most with the writers' vote was his quiet consistency. McGriff never had a 50-home run season, never led the league in multiple offensive categories in a single year, and didn't have a franchise with which he was forever linked. His steady performance across several teams, Toronto, San Diego, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and Chicago made him a great player, but not necessarily an icon. This created a sort of silent injustice. While other names sparked heated debates, McGriff remained underestimated, despite his undeniable achievements and spotless reputation. Fortunately, in 2022, the Contemporary Era Committee of Veterans corrected this historical omission by electing Fred McGriff to the Hall of Fame with a unanimous vote. All 16 members of the committee voted in his favor. In 2023, he finally had his moment of glory in Cooperstown, where he was celebrated not just for his numbers, but for his exemplary character and contributions to the game with integrity. This long overdue recognition brought justice to one of the most consistent and respected sluggers of his generation. For many fans and experts, his induction into the Hall was a triumph of sportsmanship and a reminder that greatness doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes it's built day by day through solid work and unshakable character. Fred McGriff left a lasting legacy in baseball, not only because of his impressive stats, but for the standard of consistency he set throughout a career that spanned nearly 2 decades. In a sport full of highs and lows, McGriff was a steady presence year after year, always delivering power at the plate, reliable performance, and exemplary professionalism. He was the kind of player that managers, teammates, and fans could count on, a true anchor in the heart of the lineup. His reliability made him a valuable asset to any roster. More than that, McGriff symbolized an era of players who stood out more for their hard work than for scandals or self-promotion. While other names from his generation became associated with controversies involving banned substances or off-field behavior, McGriff maintained a clean image throughout. He was respected not only for his long home runs, but for his conduct, the kind of professional who led by example without seeking attention. During a turbulent time for baseball, his integrity and discipline served as a safe harbor for fans who still believed in the purity of the game. His impact can also be measured by the lasting respect he continues to receive from players, analysts, and fans alike. Even years after his retirement, McGriff is still cited as a model of a complete slugger, someone who combined power with consistency and did so without shortcuts. His Hall of Fame induction in 2023 by the Veterans Committee was not just a formal recognition. It was a confirmation that baseball still values those who take the high road. His legacy lives on not only in the stats, but in the memories of summer days defined by his quiet and efficient presence on the field. Fred McGriff taught us that greatness can come quietly, built through effort, consistency, and humility. His career is celebrated not just for records, but for the way he honored the game. For young players, he represents what it means to be a true professional, to show up every day, give your best in every at-bat, and stay composed no matter the situation. His legacy is a reminder that consistency, when paired with talent and character, can be just as powerful as any spectacular feat, and that in the end, those values are what truly endure. Fred McGriff represents everything baseball cherishes in its silent heroes: consistency, ethics, respect, and results. In an era defined by flashy superstars and, unfortunately, performance-enhancing drugs, McGriff took a quieter path, but one that was equally impactful. He was the kind of player who may not have dominated the headlines daily, but whose constant presence and reliable production were crucial to every team he played for. His journey is a powerful reminder that greatness is also built in silence, through daily discipline and dedication. From his first steps in professional baseball, coming out of Tampa, Florida, to becoming one of the league's most feared hitters, McGriff never stopped showing his passion for the game. Even without the prestige of being a top prospect, he believed in his talent and worked hard to hone his skills until he earned his place. His rise wasn't meteoric, but it was solid, and that may say more about his character than any sudden burst of fame. Crime Dog earned respect through merit, not marketing. Over the years, McGriff put up numbers that were long underappreciated. He finished his career with 493 home runs, just 7 shy of the mythical 500 mark, and had no fewer than 10 seasons with 30 or more homers. In any other era, those stats would have made him a first-ballot Hall of Famer. However, the context of the steroid era obscured the true value of what McGriff represented: a clean, productive, and dependable slugger who never needed to cheat to shine. The injustice of his exclusion by BBWA writers was felt by many fans and analysts who saw McGriff as a symbol of sports integrity. Even so, he remained classy, never engaging in controversies or demanding recognition. When he was finally inducted into the Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee in 2023, it felt like justice was restored, not just for his numbers, but for the example he always set both on and off the field. Fred McGriff also left his mark on every team he played for: the Blue Jays, Padres, Braves, Devil Rays, and Cubs. On each of those rosters, he played his role with excellence, helping teammates and raising the level of the entire lineup. Most notably, his time with the Atlanta Braves culminated in the 1995 World Series title, an unforgettable achievement for the franchise and a richly deserved reward for the veteran. He wasn't just a slugger. He was a pillar of stability, experience, and quiet leadership. Looking back, it's easy to see that McGriff was built to last. His longevity, offensive consistency, and ethical approach made him a rare example in the sports world. He didn't seek the spotlight, but he deserved it. He didn't force charisma, but he earned respect. He didn't promise fireworks, but he delivered excellence. In an era where many sought instant legend status, Fred McGriff built his own legend, brick by brick. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And make sure to leave a comment below. In the end, Fred McGriff's story reminds us that a true legacy isn't just about numbers or instant fame. It's about how you walk the path. McGriff walked it with honor. He didn't just win in baseball, he won in life. His Hall of Fame induction may have taken time, but his place is eternal. For fans, players, and the sport itself, Fred McGriff will always be remembered as a quiet giant, a symbol of excellence, integrity, and love for the game. Until the next journey, dear baseball fans,